Hello and welcome to the instant match reaction. It has finished. Brentford 4, Leicester City 1 in what can only be described as an absolutely horrific performance. Luke, why do we look so happy? We should be looking like Jamie Vardy there. What did you make of what was a truly, truly abject day? There's a lot of thoughts, I think, running through our head. Talk to me.
Truly abysmal locks. That was disgusting. You know what? We may as well have had Cooper in charge. It was that bad. Like, I think that was worse than what Cooper could have produced. I never thought I would come in singing the Orcs praises, but Jesus Christ, that was bad. That got worse and worse and worse. In a nutshell, the TLDR for that is we play the back five to begin with in patches. We'll sit back, invite pressure. They still play passing triangles around us, run rings around our centre backs. And then we want to start pushing up the pitch and start trying to get him back. And then all we do is leave ourselves exposed. We just got bent over in every single aspect of the game. That was absolutely disgusting. Ruud van Nistelrooy is probably thinking, this is the biggest mistake of my whole fucking life. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say, mate. Like, look at his face there. Jesus Christ. Like no turtleneck's going to pull me out of this bag of shit.
Locks, I mean, you've got the blue tinted glasses on because boy, oh boy, do you need them to get anything out of that performance. You've obviously just endured the match chat with our brilliant community. What did you make of that awful match?
Let me tell you right now, that was the most difficult match day live that I've done on this channel so far this season. And I've sat through the Forest capitulation, the Man United batterings, the Crystal Palace, obviously, losing, capitulating at 2-0 up, all sorts. I've seen it all this season so far, and that was the worst yet. And you know what? It's so, in a way, it was kind of obvious it was going to happen. We just kind of looked away and thought, nah, we're gonna win. The depression's gone of Cooper. I mean, Luke said it a few times, and I think we've all said it at some point. It was just very much like when Brendan Rodgers got sacked, and we had 2 games in limbo. I was hoping and praying that Ruud may, and we did speculate in it all week, that maybe Ruud had a little bit of his hands on the squad by now, even though he wasn't officially managing. But I mean, I hope he hasn't from looking at it, mate, because it was absolutely piss poor.
Locks, just quickly, I literally want to start with this person because I think I'm going to go on the rant here. I said to you that after the last match, I couldn't believe, I told you he needed to be dropped from the squad, not even from the team, from the squad. I think Wout Faes has just dropped back-to-back 1 out of 10 performances. And I think 1 is being pretty generous. He was awful for so many of the goals today. Luke, I mean, the one highlight of this stream will be seeing some of Luke's rants going off on the team and the players, although we won't get to see, slagging off the Orc, but give me something for Faes as well, please, Luke. I mean, this guy's awful. And just before I pass over to you, I think something that Locke says to me, which I agree, is I can't recall the last time I've hated an active Leicester City player for so long. We've had bad players, but at least you have bad players that don't have an ego or try. Like some of you who are some older like me might remember players like Frank Sinclair. He was okay, right? He made a lot of bad mistakes and some own goals, but he was a nice guy that always tried. But Faes is just, oh my God, yeah. Here we go. Over to you, Luke. Literally, the community, they want to hear it, so give it to me.
Right. Well, I hope that as we are speaking, we see an angry Dutchman walk into that locker room and be like, listen here, brother. Number 1, get a fucking haircut, you fucking idiot, because you look stupid with that sideshow haircut. Second of all, you better hope and pray to God, Wout Faes, that O'Coley's leg is injured, because you are never getting a sniff in this team again. I'm not even going to banish you and give you this Sionsu treatment and get you trained under 23s, bro. You're just going to carry everyone else's bags in, bro, and clean the floors. Fuck off. Who do you think you are, bro? You think you're Virgil van Dijk, bro? And absolutely, the ego on this guy, thinking everyone else's fault, is disgusting. And then you see him in the last 10 minutes, man, high-fiving Yannick Vestergaard when you see him panic and put the ball out for yet another corner. Fuck off, you idiot. You're an absolute car crash. You looked half decent because you had Enzo Maresca with a beautiful system and you're in the league below. He's never to be proven a Premier League player, in my opinion. Thinks he is. He wants to be sold. probably not going to get sold because he's not good enough. He's a fucking idiot. I'd rather have Ndidi back and centre back again and see him again. He is getting worse and worse and worse.
100% agree. I would go as far as saying I feel if Wout Faes stays in the team, we are going down with him. How many times do I see the screen of woeful Faes this season? I get the feeling that every time that he's in the team, it's probably going to happen. Let's get some comments in. Pay a team some money to take Faes. That's a good investment. Get it off. Matty B, thank you, Luke. Therapeutic. And Zayta saying Dan Amati is a better centre back than Faes. Do you know what?
That's tragic.
I would be surprised.
I think it's true.
Yeah. All right. Do you know what? Let's going to come back to some starred comments here. Actually, just bring up here David Chapman, community member. Logs, did you get the 5 gifted memberships out of the ACCA winnings? Not sure.
What ACCA winnings? Bloody hell. I'll tell you what, I'll be loaded if honestly, mate. This is just again touching on Faes. That is the problem. Like Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas is shit, and he knows he's shit, right?
Yeah.
Faes is shit, and he genuinely thinks he's like elite. I mean, do you remember when he was moaning in the summer because he didn't want to play on the left side of centre back? So he was like, "Oh well, I'll see what my options are." Nobody wants you. Because you are crap. Nobody wants you, mate. You are awful. And I don't know, mate. It's kind of like, well, it just sums up again. It was another Rodgers signing. And I think it's criminal to think that Ben Nelson, who's sadly now injured, and Harry Suter are both out on loan. And we're stuck with this sideshow Bob looking honestly, mate, get him gone. I hate him. I absolutely hate him.
Yeah, exactly. Love this. Breaking reaction. Daka touched the ball but lost it. There is a Brentford fan in the chat. Look, we will say Brentford were superb. Great team. But we're probably going to end up banning you from the chat just after that. Anyway, let's get on. I'm going to go straight to a comment.
Thanks for the views.
Second of that game right from the lineup announcement. So that's where we should start it off with. So this is what we went for. In the end, it was this kind of 3-4-3. And we're a bit like, But, I think we can say that this experiment with this system was absolutely awful. And we kept with it throughout the entire game, which was a bit weird. Luke, what did you make of this system? And, are you like me and hoping we never see it again?
Yeah, I am. And that's the weird thing about it, lads. Like everyone in the chat, like, what are you thinking? Like, we've never seen this system under Cooper. We know that Ruud van Nistelrooy is most likely definitely not going to play the system either. So, like this little time in the limelight for Ben, whatever his name is, fucking Orc 2.0, like, was retarded. I don't know why he decided to pull it out. It didn't work. It was disgusting. I hope we just never see that again. And we don't see we don't see Luke Thomas start again. Like, I will say this, I think he had a better second half, and I'm sure we'll go through the players in a second. But yeah, this formation, man, I don't know what it was and what the value of it was either.
100%. I mean, this from Chris. If our whip is coming from JJ and Luke Thomas, we are banging trouble. Totally agree. And I will say maybe one thing was when Mabadidi came on, I felt like he offered more than anyone else in the entire game. He should have probably made a pass through to Daka, but who really cares? Zaid said Luke Thomas wasn't that bad in my opinion. I don't think he was particularly good though. And maybe this says it all that someone says Luke Thomas was our best defender, I thought. There we go. What did you make of this lineup, Locks?
I mean, I tried to look on the bright side, and I mean, we haven't got Winks available to us. We haven't got Ricardo. We haven't got Fatawu. So there is obviously only so much you can do. The only thing I can think of is that Victor Christensen was just being rested, and Mavididi were just being rested. That's the only thing I can think of on why they didn't play. Thomas is shit, like I said, and we all know it. And yeah, I don't know, man. Look, I just think we said before the game, didn't we? That it's kind of a free hit and we didn't really care too much. But when you're watching Leicester, obviously we're always going to care, which is why we're so angry still. And I'm not surprised we got thumped with that lineup. That's what I'll say. And going forwards, you've got Samari and Didi, Ayew and Buonanotte. There are a couple individual players there that can do something, but there was just no link up whatsoever.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if you're going to go into a match with this as your lineup, you deserve everything you've got coming to you, and it'd be easy to see like a big battering coming your way. I'll just go through some stats as well before we kind of go through all the players. So here we can look at like just the domination really from Brentford. I'm surprised they're 2.25 XG. I think they look like they could score many more if they really wanted to. Only we would give Kevin Shard, who'd only scored 3 goals in 46 games prior to this match, a hat-trick. He was absolutely sensational. He will get man of the match, but I've got to say, I actually thought Mikkel Damsgaard absolutely ran the show. He was brilliant for them. Use your money, mate, to get a hair transplant is what I would say to him. But otherwise, I've got to say they were brilliant. They were really aggressive, pushed forward, absolutely dominated us throughout, I would say. Maybe someone's here from Daz. Awful performance, but let's at least remember that Brentford at home haven't lost a game there. No excuses, though. I expected more from the players considering Top gave them a telling off. Exactly. And do you know what I would say, which I think it's hard to believe, but there was actually a point in this game where we were 1-0 up, which is crazy because it was so awful. And just for you guys, who do you think this was the worst performance of the season? Because for me, I think it comfortably was.
By far.
Yeah.
By far.
All right, let's go through some of the players. We've already talked about, actually, let's talk about the results first. So actually, the funny thing is, though, is despite a horrific performance, we still somehow lived to stay out of the relegation zone again. So Southampton got a point last night away at Brighton. That's a good result, I think, for them. Crystal Palace scored the last-minute equaliser to get a draw at Newcastle. Forest did us a big favour by beating Ipswich, and Wolves have lost to Bournemouth. So what does that mean? It means here's the table. And we remain a point out of the relegation zones, but you can see it's very close now. And it is going to be between these teams. I think the worry is that Palace and Wolves are starting to climb. We're starting to fall. You can probably see where this is going. It's really unfortunate that we didn't get rid of Cooper earlier because, I don't know, actually, to be honest with you, the funny thing is I think looking back, we all thought that we could get points out of Brentford. But to be honest with you, looking at that match, I don't think we ever stood a chance. Well, are we just being too optimistic? Do we have to kind of realize what place we were in this league? I'll start with you. Yeah. I'll go on, Luke. You go. Yes, you've answered me. Yeah.
Sorry, brother. People are saying that, to be honest with you, that like the Leicester fans are entitled and we need to curb our expectations. I just think that we're going from playing Enzo ball to playing what we are now is just like a complete regression game after game. And what's more painful is that like for instance, that game made it glaringly obvious, like for the January transfer window, that we need to spend money and exactly where we need to invest it as well, positionally wise. So I do think that, yeah, we do need to curb our expectations, but I think that, look, two of our best, look, it would have changed the game, or maybe it would have, but having Fatau and Ricardo Pereira is massively a huge change to our team and our structure and how we're used to playing. Fatau stretching the pitch, Ricardo Pereira inverting. So we've now played, how many systems have we played? We've just played 3-4-3. We've played a back five today as well in patches. We've played 4-2-3-1. We tried to play Enzo ball again, but bastardized under Ort Cooper. So we've now chopped and changed way too many systems, and now we're going to have Ruud van Nistelrooy come in on top of that. Whilst all the lads have been playing, have had their confidence crushed, particularly James Justin. So, yeah, I don't like how much changing there is. I hope that Ruud van Nistelrooy just comes in and just sticks of one thing. And obviously, he's going to have to tweak his players and figure out his best 11 with all of these 8 games they're going to get played between now and Christmas, which is obviously quite hectic. But, and my mate, that's really, really nice of you to do for Locks. Top bloke, brother. Do you know what I mean, guys? Like, did you think that, like, it's not too convoluted this season, all the stuff that we've been through, and it's about to get further convoluted with a new manager? Not to blame Ruud van Nistelrooy, but it's something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's just put this message up. Thank you so much, Clemo, for making us feel somewhat better on a difficult day. Brentford are miles ahead of us at this time. They have a stable team and manager, but Ruud will get it sorted. Keep the faith. Well, we're going to need the faith, that's for sure. I really think it shows you just what a massive gap there is in between the two teams and what we need to do to kind of climb out of it. But I for sure agree with you, Luke. We've tried all these various different systems. It doesn't help. It's confusing things. That was the whole point of the championship season, which was that, to get a style, get used to it. So as soon as you start match day 1, you don't need to worry. You've got the system. Yeah, you're not going to win every game. You're going to have a tough season, but you know what you need to do. Here, even now, you can see players don't know what they're doing. That's why we're still getting the problem where I was literally going to say that, you might think that this system would stop James Justin getting isolated. But look at the first goal Brentford scored. It gets played in behind him. So, really big worries. I'm going to go through the players in a minute, but I'm just going to read through some of the comments. So Our players are not good enough in the Premier League, have to build from the back. Faes out. We're going to start going through the players in the moment. I don't think too many are going to score too well. After taking a lead, all we had to do was slow it down, manage the game, make it scrappy as possible. I agree with this, KCK. I think the fact that we only lasted 3 minutes before conceding was awful. And the fact that we've got a potentially 5 people at the back, but we get caught in behind the wing back position is unforgivable. That could happen maybe in the 60th minute, not 3 minutes after taking a lead. From Jungle Master Gaming, Rude, please save us. We're going to need him. From Daz, the worrying thing for lads is other teams are picking up points or better performance against teams we played. Like Ipswich beat Spurs and they only lost 1-0 today to Forest, whereas yet we're goal difference -11 right now. From Aaron White, really have to question our summer recruitment. Okay, let's bring this up quickly and I'll start with you guys as well. Reed is a waste of space. Ayew and Skipper are a waste of money. Bilal hardly gets any game time. The whole thing has been a shambles. What do you make of that statement, Locks? And cheer up, because someone's just here says Locks is in the Great Depression.
Yeah, mate. I mean, look, the whole. Let's go through them one by one. So Bobby Reed, he was a free agent. So it's a number in the door because let's be honest, Anil. I think at the end of the season or the end of last season, when Kiernan Dewsbury Hall left, when Mark Albrighton left, I think we did need numbers, and I think it was a fair assessment to bring in a free agent. The problem lies though that he's being used quite often, and on top of that, he's on a 3-year contract, which is baffling. If we get relegated, let's just guess Bobby Reed is on 60 grand a week. Let's just guess that as an experienced Premier League player. We get relegated, we're then stuck with him again, 60 grand a week, every single week for another 2 years. So that's awful. Secondly, I think Skip, again, I think the price tag is the problem there. 20 million rising to 25 is crazy. I was optimistic about the signing at first. I actually thought he would play more often than he has, and it did look like Cooper at one point was starting to play him over the likes of Winks, for example. But then he backtracked on that after a few poor performances from Skip. So that's looking like a big fat L. Jordan Ayew, I don't think it's an L. I think Jordan Ayew for 5 to 8 million. Yeah. Yes, you could argue it's a little bit steep, but 8 million quid, let's just say the top price, 8 million quid. He scored 4 goals for us this season. He's basically earned us 4 points himself, by the way, with the winner against Southampton and then an equaliser against Ipswich. I think that's the signing of the season so far, along with Buonanotte on loan. And the fact we're calling Jordan Ayew signing of the season shows how shite the summer transfer window really was now looking back on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll let you have to say on that, Luke, as well in the future. But let's start going through the players, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of salt being thrown at a lot of the players we've got here. So I'll actually start with someone who I've personally thought had a good game, which was Mads Hermansen. And I say that because I think he made an outrageous save in the first half. One of the reasons why we were 1-up at one point. But after that, what do you think? He was kicking it along again today. I do believe that was an instruction. So talk to me, Luke. What did you make of Mads?
Yeah, thank you, mate. That was the first thing I was going to raise. Yeah, made an absolute belter save to begin with. Made it really hard. A lot of the goals that we conceded were Mads versus 2 players. So basically tap-in options each time. We can't defend against 2 people. We've really whinged about the defenders. So Mads Hermansen, I thought, had a good game. And let's hope that when Ruud van Nistelrooy comes in, lads, that we can start seeing him play it out the back more where he's most confident and comfortable with his ball distribution, keeping the ball on the ground and not inviting wave after wave of pressure by hoofing it long and forward.
Yeah, it's interesting from Brookline G. Mads equals 0. Distribution was horrible. I thought he was supposed to be good with his feet. So it's interesting that some people see it that way. Tyler says he deserves so much better. And if only we don't play hoofball every game. Yeah. I think it was a very deliberate tactic in this game to go long, because I think the way that Brentford play, because they push so many people forward up. And I did say in the match preview that I felt it would be a bit long ball and chaotic. But at the same time, the chaos is always going to help them. All right, we've already spoke about this train wreck. Let's not spend any more time on someone who's awful. Okay, Coady went off early on, but what did you make of him? And I'll also talk about Vestergaard coming on. I'll throw this to you, Locke. So both Coady and Vestergaard.
Look, mate, I think Coady has had a hit and miss start so far. I think in pre-season he was truly awful. And I think a lot of us were like, oh God, what have we just spent 15 million quid on? And then when he came into the team, I think it was after the Fulham game. So the third game of the season, he came in for Vestergaard. He replaced Vestergaard probably after Vestergaard's fallout with Cooper, which we've now learned. I think he did really well, mate. I think he was a good addition to the team. But again, just like all of them, Anil, he's lost confidence over time.
Yeah.
That is what has happened to this squad. They have lost confidence. So this is why, you know how we've all found ourselves recently saying we've actually regressed.
Yes.
In terms of the play, in terms of the style of play, I don't think we've regressed. It's each the individual players, they've all lost confidence. I mean, even for Kondo, he's a shadow of the player he was, 6 weeks ago. They've all lost confidence, and which is why I actually think Rude is the right appointment, because I think that he will come in and actually give some confidence back to these players. I agree with that 100%, Yaz, and it has to be a Coady Vestergaard. Faes has to be dropped. The problem is Faes will kick up a big fuss because he thinks he's Beckenbauer, and he's actually like Liam Moore quality centre back. That is literally what.
Harsh on Liam Moore.
You could argue, yeah. Vestergaard, though, look, he had his redemption arc last season. He came back into the team after he got slaughtered by Rodgers, and he proved why he deserved a contract, in my opinion. The downside, obviously, Enzo left. That's the guy who offered him the contract. So the new guy came in, Cooper. They had a fallout. I think under Rude, this again, like a lot of the players, this is his chance to have another redemption. And I think he will have it. I think Rude, watching that from the stands, there is no way that he plays fast. Well, he shouldn't play fast, is what I'm trying to say. He shouldn't play fast, and it should be Vestergaard. So
I hope so. He needs to really get into. He's a huge problem fast right now. I agree with some people here. I thought Vestergaard was pretty good when coming on. I want to bring this up, which I think is one of the big issues, which we'll come to when we do the match analysis. Are we playing too much of a high line when in attack? Because for me, trying to get so many players in the opposition final third, these is exposed from the counter. This is what I think was really bizarre with the 3-4-3 that we tried today, because it was the worst of both worlds. It neither kept us compact at the back to stop Brentford getting in, nor did it give us a good attacking presence with the lack of possession. It's like I would have been totally fine if we just went for a very horrific 5 at the back, have very few attacks, but look a little bit threatening when we do it. But instead, and it even worked to some degree. We go a goal up, but then we're giving away stupid goals because we're pushing up. Funny here as well. We'll come to Conor Coady in a moment. In fact, let's do that. So, Luke, it'll be interesting to see what you have to make of this. So, talk to me about Conor Coady. Interesting here from Cito Blue. Coady talking on Sky. When he talks now, he has no credibility for me. What did you make of Conor Coady?
This is an interesting one. So, like, he's lauded as this leader, and he was meant to be the leader and the builder of the middle of the back three that we saw when it was a 3 and it was calamitous. So he didn't sort the defense out whatsoever. So he's been thrusted into the side with Thomas and a calamity and Wout Faes. Made a few half-decent clearances, to be fair, but his pace is well off. He's got the exact same pace as Yannick Vestergaard without the ball distribution that Vestergaard has. And that's the first time we mentioned when watching the game, Anil and I, that we've never seen Coady play alongside Yannick Vestergaard. You could make an argument if Coley was injured that maybe it would have to be Coady and Vestergaard. But if you're going to do that, mate, Vestergaard 100% has to be in the middle. The few times that you saw a brilliant line-breaking pass in that second half from Vestergaard is when, for whatever reason, high line, Coady had pressed up the pitch and Yannick Vestergaard took his place, and then Coady tracked back, if you remember. So, look, I think he had a patchy game. It wasn't a good game. Would I say he's woeful? No, but again, it's up to you. What are your guys' thoughts on it, to be honest? Because I don't know how to really rate him for this one.
I think he was very poor. I agree. I don't think he's well suited to that particular role. But yeah, I mean, what can we say? I mean, I think it's just... We've got huge problems in defense, let's be honest with you there, right? I think with him in the team as well, I mean, here's the problem now to kind of put back on you guys, right? We've got like loads of defenders that aren't working well, but we haven't got that many in this squad that we can deal with. So unfortunately, some of them have got to play. That's why I agree with what Yazan was saying earlier, that he feels that like Coady and Vestergaard would be the best combination. I would agree, because I think even though those two aren't like, without fault, I feel at least there's some things about them that I could say are good. Whereas I struggle to really see what's good about either Coady or Faes. The thing I hate about Faes again, and sorry, we've already ranted about him, is you see in the second half, he keeps like running all the way up the pitch, trying to be like an ancillary attacking midfielder. It's like, bro, you've been absolutely awful and you're not helping out the defense. Really, really poor. But I think this probably sums it up for me from Womp, which is a good name for Womp Womp. It's probably what I would think about Arthur Spade today. Coady gave absolutely nothing. But look, I want to hand over to you. I believe you've got something you'd like to talk to about our chat about.
Yeah, so chat, everybody here, I wanted to just let you all know that I only recently realized that YouTube lets us at Blue Tinted Glasses actually gift 5 free memberships to the chat. And I thought, as we hit 6K subscribers recently, I wanted to give it a little moment here on stream. A lot of you have come over from the last one. So I'm about to hit the button, Anil, and we're about to see 5 free gifts given to the chat. 5 free memberships given to the chat. So I've
Christmas
just hit
has come
it.
early.
Yeah,
there you go,
Christmas come early. There we go. So there are now, if you bring that comment up, Anil, the last one, 5 memberships have been given out to those of you in the chat. I don't know exactly who it is. I don't know if it will tell me. But there we go. They'll come up soon. So
I'm glad you got one, Andreas. Merry Christmas. You've been following us for a while. Okay, well that
he
was
didn't.
nice.
He didn't get one. He didn't get one. Unfortunately, it was Judy Bowers. So Judy Bowers, welcome to the membership. Scarlett, who's a long-time viewer of the channel. Brian as well. Easy Gaming and Tomahawk Eye. They've all become members of Blue Tinted Glasses. There we go.
Wow, there you go. That's what you get. There's your reward for putting up with an absolutely abject performance and display. And talking of abject, some people have been saying they didn't think he was too bad and he was one of our better defenders, but we had an absolutely epic halftime rant. So I feel there's only one man that can talk to me about this particular play. And you know what, Luke? Because it's Christmas, I'm going to give you a double header. So you talk to me about the quote unquote wing backs in this system. It's Luke Thomas and James Justin. Over to you.
Oh, I get all the best stuff, don't I? Luke Thomas, mate, that first half was, again, we've mentioned it, fucking crash. Needs to go down to League 2. I had him at League 1 before. Now he's down to League 2. He can't play it out the back. He can't defend. He looks fried. I hate to say it. I know he's a Leicester City academy, but every time he went near the ball in that first half, he was sweating bullets, riddled with anxiety. He knows every time he touches it, he's fucking it up. He's turning the ball over. Everything wrong possible. A little bit better second half, to be fair to the poor lad, but we're really scraping the fucking barrel. I'm only saying he had a better second half because the first half was so bad that, like, there was, when you're at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. That's basically where it is. Moving on to James Justin, I agree with you. And, I was a bit, I thought he first, 15, 20 minutes, he's looking a bit better. Went back to being calamitous and went back to being completely spanked. Just bend over and just part our cheeks down that right-hand side. Just say, come right in, lads, and just spread us, because that's what it looks like every time we see any ball come down our right-hand side. So, mate, just awful. Playing with a back five just paid no dividends whatsoever. JJ is literally going to be the next Luke Thomas. He keeps, confidence has been shot from the lad.
Yeah, the system did him no favours. I think some people here are saying, which I would agree, which is that Thomas, I think he definitely had a poor first half, had early problems connecting passes, but he never gave up and played himself into good positions late in the game. He actually made some good challenges, I felt, late in the game. But to be honest with you, we are kind of clutching at straws, because when you're 4-1 down, it's like it doesn't matter if you're making some good challenges at that moment in time. Look, I really agree with this. The first Brentford goal was a joke, a split through ball against the back five. How is that even possible? Yes, Brookline, I really cannot say enough about that. That is absolutely unforgivable. We were watching the game, Luke, Andreas, and I don't know what it came across to you guys, but I mean, I don't know what to say. The anger inside me, like just dead inside sort of thing.
Can I say, Neil, by the way, I agree. I think Thomas's second half was much better. But then I do also think Brentford let their foot off the gas slightly in that second half. I did see a really funny comment, mate, and I'm going to bring it up.
Go on.
Let me find it. It says... Luke Thomas and James Justin, 4 first names, can't be trusted. Luke Thomas, James and Justin. I just found that really funny.
Bang, as comment of the day so far. Absolutely. Okay, I'll actually put. Someone actually requested a rant on Ndidi from Luke, but you've been stealing a lot of the limelight here, so I'm going to pass over. I'm going to actually let you take locks this, and I will actually bring up another great comment. This came from Tyler much earlier in the show, but I think this is a really good question. So the back three caused more problems than it solved. Absolutely agree. But here I think is more the key. We were ran over in midfield, yet we stuck with two the whole time. The tactics were, I think, antithetical to the shape. Good luck, Rude. Well, Rude is definitely going to need the good luck. So what did you make of that, Locks? Because it was kind of interesting how we decided to go with both Bouba Samare and Ndidi as the two, but they actually pushed up a lot higher than I expected them. In fact, I think I can show you something when I do start doing my tactical analysis sort of early. But this is something that I noticed earlier in the game, that despite playing this 3-4-3, you can see, look, this is 3 minutes into the game, and look how high they're pushing up, given that, look, Sumare and Ndidi are in fact in front of Ayew at this point in time. But if I'm being honest, was that a good strategy? Let me ask you, what did you make of both Ndidi and Sumare in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was just terrible, wasn't it? I think this is why I was like so sure that it would be a 3. You know, with Facundo in there as well. But yeah, it just didn't work, mate. You know, the thing with Ndidi, mate, I remember there being rumors online a couple of years back that his birth certificate was faked. Because it was proven that a couple of the Nigerian players' birth certificates were fake. And I think the only explanation is that Wilfred Ndidi is genuinely probably now like 36 years old, and he was probably in his prime back in the Europe days. That's the only explanation. He can't even defend well anymore, mate. That was his bread and butter. He was one of the best defensive midfielders in the whole of the Premier League, in the whole of Europe at one point. Enzo moved him as one of these high eights. He did really well at championship level. And now he can't defend. He can't defend, mate. I don't know what it. Honestly, I don't know, mate. I think Sumare will be an option that Ruud van Nistelrooy does go for. I really do, and I think he plugs the gap slightly with Winks missing, just slightly. However, it was nothing like Harry Winks. Of course, it wasn't to that level. So. Yeah, I think the midfield, as Brian says, actually, who is one of the gifted members, welcome, Brian. I think that it does need surgery. I'm not sure what Ruud can do to it. I think even a flat 3 or something might improve things. But to be honest, mate, that's why Ruud has been paid the big bucks. You know, he's getting the big bucks now to come in and try and sort them out. What was that one there? What was that comment?
From Leicester City Down Under is a bit of a cheeky chappy. Says, get your super chats in for Locks. He needs a hair transplant fund after that game. The rest is making him more. It is interesting because I kind of agree with this. Sumare is done for me, has occasional moments, but that's all you'll ever get. And someone's even
I think that's harsh.
Chowdhury over Sumare. I don't know. I kind of agree.
No.
Samare always looks lazy. I don't think he's the. I thought Skip looked better than Samare when he came on, but I don't know. I think he flatters to deceive. You got
I'd have
anything to say
Chowdhury
about
over
that?
Ndidi.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Have you got anything to say about the two of them there, Luke? Ndidi and
I don't. I'm happy with playing. Again, I think they both had poorish games. There was moments where Sumare had decent passes and set the ball up. But look, I'll say that I don't think those two can play together in a double pivot under any circumstance. They're just kind of it's either one or the other for me. And if do you know what I mean? Like it's just none of them are going to mop up the ball at the back, and it's just that's Winks' role. I think Skip, I agree. I think Skip was better. I think whoever mentioned earlier that Skip was a bad buy was harsh. I definitely think there's a player in Skip, and I think that utilizing the correct system and there's a player there. Did we ever pay? Yes, but I still think he's not bad.
Here's an interesting one. I'll take El Canoes over Sumare, Ndidi, Skip, or Winks, which is a take that you've given to me quite a few times, Luke.
Yes. So I shared before the game, I would like to see, look, if we're going to play like a more advanced person in the double pivot position, you're going to have Winks, if he's available, mopping up the ball, bossing that area, and obviously making Vestergaard feel much more confident at the back. Vestergaard and Winks bring out the best in one another, and you need those two together if we're going to be playing it out from the back. And then I think that gives Bilal the opportunity to be the more advanced of the double pivot and makes him actually ball distribution. I think that would be excellent. So I think, I would love to see that. Winks and Bilal, and then obviously have Buonanotte as your 10 or higher. It's depending on how Ruud's going to play.
Yeah, I was going to say here, someone saying Ruud van Nistelrooy hold my Dutch beer about nothing could be worse than Cooper, but Van Nistelrooy did not take charge of this game. He was watching on. I'm sure he was pretty worried about what he saw and was probably wondering if there was a refund option available or he could sign something else. He's definitely got a tough job ahead of him. And yeah, him and Top looked absolutely shocked. All right, let's go on to some positives. Well, this guy was a positive for while he was on the. I just went on to someone who was not so positive. So I'll hand this one over to you, Locke. So I think this is one of your favourite players. What did you make of Facundo Buonanotte today whilst he was on?
Well, I think he's everyone's favourite player, to be honest with you. Well, out of the except for Vardy and maybe for Ayew, I just think he's a class above Oz. I think he is at the moment. He's a class above the players that were on the pitch with him, and I think I've said before, but yeah. Sorry, I was going to say something very controversial. I won't say, but No, it's right. I just feel. I'll tell you what. I'll say something a bit more PC. I feel like when like the year 11 plays with the year 7s at school. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's like with Buonanotte, I think. And he's a great player. He's going to go on to great things in his career. I'm convinced. Whether it's at Brighton or we're already hearing rumours of other clubs. In the big six, if you like, sniffing around him, and I see exactly why. He's going to be the man that Ruud should build his team around for the rest of the season. He should be the guy there to, especially with no Fatawi, this guy should be the one that we work around. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, he is the one though, along with Ayew, that you look at and think Steve Cooper actually did get a lot out of him. And when we did go back to Enzo ball, that's where Facundo kind of faded a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see. I think he needs to be played in an out-and-out number 10, in my opinion. That's where he's best. So let's hope that Ruud does that.
Why didn't Bilal play is what someone's asked for there. That's an interesting one because we can kind of tie this into our next man that came up, although you'll probably say Mavadidi there. But yeah, so we've gone for Buonanotte, but yeah, a lot of people asking there, like, why did we not play Bilal El Khanous or at least bring him on at some point in the game? Because surely that's disappointing. Like, let's talk about the subs. But just want to say this, guys. Yeah, please smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also like and subscribe to Luke at LCFC Down Under. I think for some of his rants in very trying circumstances, he deserves it. I believe it's also 2 a.m. his time, and he's still staying up watching this garbage. Not this channel. This channel is amazing, but I meant the Leicester City game. The blue tinted, you can always count on.
Yeah. Saved yourself there.
Exactly. But yeah, I just wanted to say that looking at the subs, I actually understand taking off Vardy and Buonanotte. They actually both played well. The game was over, saved them for West Ham. But then why not put on players like Bilal El Khanous to give him some game time? That kind of implies to me, well, we don't know. Ruud's going to be taking over the next training session. So why didn't Bilal play, do you think? And what position is he best? Because here's an interesting one. Bilal fits the 10 position. Someone said here how, any other team he would be thriving in, but not us. And this is the obviously interesting take from Brookline too. I'm not hot on Facundo. His defensive coverage and tackling is a liability. He seems disconnected from the team. So give me your thoughts. I'll start with Luke actually this time. Bilal and Facundo.
Okay, so for Bilal, then yeah, you could say that we're managing players' minutes because we are going to have a quick turnaround. But then again, we don't know because who's getting managed, because Ruud's going to come in and identify, after very limited training sessions who he wants to see and who he rates. So that would be my first guess why. I would have liked to see Bilal come off the bench. I would have liked to see him start, to be honest with you, with some of the injuries. But look, let's just hope that he starts against West Ham. So I know there's a lot of keen Moroccan fans that want to see more of Bilal and the screaming for him, but don't worry, his time will come. Buonanotte, if you go back to that Brookline comment from before, I can kind of understand a little bit where you're coming from, mate. I think I will agree with you when we briefly tried to play Enzo ball, when we went back to the 3-2-4-1. I think when he was playing as a high 8, I think that it didn't really suit him and he was kind of disjointed from that system. I do think that is a little bit harsh, though, to be honest with you. I just think that he's kind of like James Maddison, mate. He's a hero. He's trying to do absolutely everything. He's got the confidence to be able to do and pull off a lot of the stuff he's been doing. So I think he's just trying a little bit too hard in some moments of the game.
Yeah, someone said it, but go on, Knox, yeah.
I was going to say, Brookline said he looks disconnected from the team. That's probably why he's been so bloody good, because he's been disconnected from the rest of the trash. So, yeah.
Yeah, he feels like he's the only one that hasn't got the lethargy. I mean, you said it yourself that he feels like he's not as confident as he was 6 weeks ago, but that was still a good finish and great play from Vardy, who we'll get to in a moment. Let's talk about then Jordan Ayew. Well, I'll take this one. So what did I think of him? I think he was like attritional. I really think in this sort of system that we're trying to play here, you have to play Mavadidi, because you could just basically see that, sure, he was acting as an option. It was noticeable that Mads was looking to hit Jordan Ayew a lot on the long kickouts for him to hold it up. And then he was trying to hold it up and bring other people into play. But then when he got the ball, he wasn't really good at releasing it or finding that quick pass on transition. So he slowed down the attack. I think when Mavadidi came on, he made a big difference. So I don't have anything against Ayew. I think he has overall been a good signing, but I think he should be ending games, not starting them. And I think playing in this system is completely wrong for his sort of skill set. You need to play a bit of a different system. And here's interesting. Some people saying, I don't remember Ayew holding up the ball once. Well, I said he tried to hold it up, shall we say. Well, maybe you can correct me, but yeah, I think that's fair enough. He didn't do too much. Ayew was just a waste of a player on the pitch. Definitely not his best. Ayew was awful today. And Chester Leicester, Ayew anonymous, really. Few long balls bounced off him, but he's got to come on late. Look, no worries, dogs. If you got to head off, me and Luke can definitely take it from here. You've been amazing in the match day live, and as you say, a very difficult one to take for all Leicester fans.
All I'll say is thank you to all the support on the match day live and on the instant match reaction. People, Anil, you need me on full screen for this one, mate. You need me on full screen.
Yeah, no worries.
Right. Oh, no, you don't need to do that. Okay, there we go. That works. People, the Rude era begins on Tuesday night. We'll be live for Match Day Live, so make sure you're there. The Rude era begins. Turtlenecks, all sorts are out. Thank you so much. There you go. Anil's out. There he is.
Thanks a lot, Lux. You take care there. Me and Luke there will still hold the show for a few more minutes before we head off. So thanks a lot. So that was Jordan Ayew. I think we can maybe end it on somewhat of a positive. What did you make of Jamie Vardy, Luke?
Awesome, mate. His pace isn't what it used to be, but God, his football brain's gone nowhere, mate. He did absolutely excellent. I was screaming for a penalty, but it didn't matter. He got that ball absolutely sliding off his left, beautiful, right onto a platter for Conor Buonanotte. I love Jamie Vardy, mate. He's going to be a hero forever. This man's going to be playing till he's in a Zimmer frame for Leicester. He's going nowhere. 10 more years, Leicester City, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, it's only a bit worrying that you could say that he might actually have been our best player today, and he's 38 and is not going to be able to play every 30 days. Yeah, I agree with this. Vardy was the man. Just want to come back to a previous comment from KCK. What was the profile of the PSV defenders? Were they fast, strong, or shit like ours? Well, when Ruud van Nistelrooy was there, he had Jared Branthwaite, who was on loan from Everton, and he really developed him and turned him into a great player. So when he went back to Everton, he sort of lit up the league. And Branthwaite has gone on record as saying that Ruud van Nistelrooy was integral to his development as both a player and as a man. So that's very encouraging to hear. Other defenders they had, obviously the Dutch league is quite a bit worse. He was using people like Patrick van Aanholt as a kind of auxiliary defender stroke attacker. And, Van Aanholt was okay for Palace, but was a player playing basically for a sort of bottom 5-6 team. So maybe you could say they were similar. It remains to be seen. I still have somewhat confidence that looking at Ruud van Nistelrooy when he was at Manchester United had massive defensive frailties. I think they were maybe systemic more than player-wise. So he was able to kind of address those issues pretty quickly. And I guess maybe what you're kind of getting at with this comment is that it doesn't matter if you're a great manager, you can't really make miracles happen if you've been given crap. And is that going to be an issue? Perhaps that will be the issue for us. We'll probably give the chat like a few more minutes if you want to get any more comments in. Otherwise, what can we really say about today? It was a really, really poor performance. I don't really know what to say other than I got to say Brentford. I think they were really, really good. The way that they played was pretty aggressive. Lewis Posse got up to join the attacks quite often. Damsgaard, like I said, I thought was brilliant. Maybe we could say, funnily enough, even though Mbeumo was against Luke Thomas, he didn't actually score, I think, or get an assist. Of course, pretty much every other player did. So I'm not sure that's anything to really be good at. Vista, of course, got his trademark goal. And yeah, this Kevin Shard, who wouldn't really seem that good, had a brilliant game for them, you've got to say. So you're going to go through some of the comments. Faes is unfixable. I think that's what we're agreeing with. Branthwaite is class. Big, strong, fast, good on the ball. Ruud did a good job with it. Absolutely. He's also left-footed, which I think is going to be a reason why he's probably going to end up going for 60 to 70 million. Still should have brought Ruud in during the international break to let him have some time with the squad. Absolutely agree. And there's this, well, here we go. Ruud van Nistelrooy, we're going to say again, literally didn't take charge of this game for MH. I'm not really sure what you're getting at there. Faes is unfixable. We really need defense upgrades in January desperately. I think I agree, and that's a bit of a worry. Do you think we'll do any business in January, Luke?
Oh, big time, mate. Yeah, 100%, dude. I think we're going to be spending about 60 million. I really do, mate. I think it's do or die here, mate. Honestly, it's roll the dice big time, dude. And this game just really, Top was there for the game next to Ruud, which is probably actually a blessing in disguise in a horrible way. Ruud's going to know exactly our weaknesses now, and Top's just seen an absolute abysmal. We all just said that was the worst performance we've seen all year. Yeah, mate, we're going to get spread if we go down. So I definitely think we're going to be spending in January. It's just the problem is that people are going to know that we're desperate and hike the prices up. But look, we need to, mate. We honestly really need it. We're screaming for a centre back. I'll ask you this before we wrap this up, Neil. Would you rather see JJ continue to play on the right, or would you rather go back to a build-up of a 3 and have him play as a left-sided centre-back? Or even, like, if we're going to play the back four on the left, we need a right back if that's the case, honestly, because we haven't got the depth to be able to drop JJ. We just played Luke Thomas, for God's sake.
For me, I've been saying this for a while. I would be going for a 4-2-3-1 and playing on the counter-attack. I mean, what I think was, poor about today is that when I saw this system on paper, it can actually make sense if you're playing defensively. I even said I don't have a problem with us playing defensively if we're going for 0-0. But instead, we've tried to do a poor man's Ruben Amorim impression, and it's gone predictably about as well as you thought it would be. So I think the issue is that of the players that we've got right now, I think you actually have to have JJ and probably Victor Christensen in the team. And I think you have to play the back four. You can't have Coady in this team. You can't have Faes in this team. So I think it means you've got to have a Coley and Vestergaard. We're running short on centre-backs. I actually think that's the biggest player that we need to bring in somehow on loan. I think we will do some business. Here's an interesting one. Which defenders are out there to get any players you have in mind? But I'll be honest with you, I'm not convinced we're going to sign players permanently. We've already mentioned PSR quite a few times. January all depends on PSR. Top was very clear to say we didn't pay any compensation. Do you notice how that was a big message this week, that we brought in a manager with no compensation? I think they're saying that so the Premier League can't say, oh, you've added to your bill, Leicester, so we're going to deduct you points. So I don't know when the PSR period is over. If it's over before the window, then yes, I think we'll invest. But if it's not, then I don't really see who we can get. But in terms of players that are out there that have definitely been linked on loan, sadly, we can't bring in another Brighton player. You can only have one loan player from a club. Otherwise, I think Evan Ferguson would be there. Bayern Munich keeps saying that Matthias Tell is potentially going to be available. Now, what's interesting is he can play as a right-sided winger, right? And given that Fatal was out, that could be an interesting, very talented player he is. But as I say, I think it's all about the defense. Who can we get? I mean, you mentioned it a few times already, Luke. What about Harry Suter? He might not necessarily be best on the ball, but do we just need bodies if we can recall him or something like that? Who knows? Maybe under Ruud, he will do it. But I don't know. I don't really have that much optimism.
Sorry, Neil, to cut you off, man. I have to. You raised a good point, mate, that I didn't even think about before. Not just Ruud, mate. What about our set piece coach? That's the one thing that's Harry Suto is like. I know it's for a lower level for Australian, and I know I am Australian, but mate, we've seen him bang a lot of goals from set pieces off his head. So like maybe he's no worse than Wout Faes at the moment. Do you know what I mean? But for me, moving forward, the back, I think we need to be playing JJ on the left, and then have in the middle Yannick Vestergaard and your right-sided centre back be O'Coley. That for me is the way to go forward. But then again, back three.
You're just having a double pivot. You're not having.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Tom summed it up. Good defense keep you up. Bad defense sends you down. Simple as. I wouldn't mind the Coley, Thomas, Vestergaard, and VK defense. That's clutching at straws. I mean, I think that really is clutching at straws. And KCK said he can't be recalled because he has crossed the number of appearances needed to avoid loan termination. So it looks like we can't bring him back. Look, do you know what, guys? I think we'll leave it there. This probably sums up our new manager, what he'll be thinking after he's seen that. But look, I agree with Locks. This was a poor result. I think this sort of result could have happened if Steve Cooper was still in charge, though. The team is fundamentally broken. I think it's a massive shame that even though the players have been told off, they've put in such a bad performance. But look, on Tuesday night, that's when we go again. We play West Ham. That will be the start of the Ruud van Nistelrooy era. And look, we've had one awful result here. Let's get it out of our system. Let's see what we can do. So thank you so much for tuning in to Blue Tinted Glasses. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like to Luke's channel, LCFC Down Under. Other than that, guys, thank you. Take care, and we will see you soon. Tune in tomorrow for Good Morning Foxes. I think, Luke, you might be on that as well. We'll be talking about the horror show that was Brentford 4, Leicester City 1. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy night. Bye-bye.